Welcome to another episode of the Strongman Say podcast. We're going to kickstart with Lee's morning weight this morning, Monday.
It was heavy this morning because I started water loading yesterday. So it was...
Don't ask a girl who's weight.
99.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But like it started on Saturday and Friday at 98.
Okay, so base weight for our water cut, 98 kilos.
Yep.
Not bad.
What was yours?
I was 107.5 this morning.
Oh, you'll complain too. You will complain the whole week. You'll be like, oh, I'm so hungry.
Oh, I'm sick of drinking water.
Yeah. That was Toowoomba. I fasted the whole day before when we drove up to Toowoomba.
I fasted too.
He was snacking in the car.
I might have a couple of snacks.
And you bought something at the airport. You bought food at the airport as
yeah,
well.
Maybe. I might have had a snack.
And you're like, God, I'm so hungry today. I'm just sitting there, haven't eaten for like 12 hours.
In my defense, it's almost worse, right? Like you break that seal and you have a little bit of a nibble, like then you start to get a little bit hungry again, you know? I think I did it harder. Having some food. Like if I just committed to not eating like Lee, I would have been cruising through, you know?
It takes more discipline because you could do it.
I don't have the discipline. I'm just too close. Like this week it's been really hard. I swapped my ice cream to the skinny cows.
Diet ice cream.
Yeah, diet ice cream. It's been tough, you know.
So hard.
Yeah, here we go.
No, my food's actually been good. Well, I've tracked it.
My food's been very
tracked
good too.
it this time.
Yeah.
I've spent the last 6 weeks changing everything. So,
well, I started at 108.2. On Friday, I was 108.2 or 108.9. 108.1, sorry.
Yep.
And I was 112 and a half. So I've already dropped 4 kilos just through diet over the last 4 weeks.
Yep.
So I got to a pretty good spot just by eating a lot more consciously. And I make the joke about the skinny cow ice cream, but that's been happening for a month.
Been on the skinny cows
I've been
for a while.
foregoing my ice cream for a long time now. Thank you very much.
Such a hard life.
We had a huge novice comp on the weekend in Victoria, which was really cool to see.
Yep.
Hercules out at Castlemaine with Mace.
Yep.
You went?
Yep.
Loved it. Great comp.
Great comp. Huge day.
Yeah.
Always is a huge day, but there's 93, I think, signed up and somewhere in the 80s turned up.
Which, I mean, 80s for an intermediate novice comp is amazing. It's like a lot of new faces. It's people showing interest in the sport. It shows promise in Victoria.
That's the biggest comp all year.
Yeah.
Probably in the country.
Yeah, huge.
Like the largest number.
Yeah.
I don't even think New South Wales got that high.
Which is really cool. Like it shows, I mean, Victoria is quickly becoming the strongest state in a lot of respects.
Yeah.
Like in a lot of respects, Victoria is becoming the strongest state in terms of the amount of competitors and stuff. And that's always or traditionally been Queensland or like New South Wales, but Victoria's looking really good.
Yeah, it just tends to go around in cycles, doesn't it? Like I think when I left Melbourne, Vic's strongest had 50 or 60. Like it blew up massively. Yeah. There was more women than men, I think, in one of them. But yeah, Queensland was always huge.
Yeah.
And New South Wales is steadily huge.
Yeah. New South Wales is always pretty big.
New South Wales doesn't seem like there's as many people.
Yeah.
But I don't think people get out of New South Wales as much. Yeah. Like everyone does a lot of the New South Wales
comps. Because there's a lot
comps.
of comps in New South Wales. Yeah. There's a lot of opportunity to compete.
So I think I always thought there wasn't that many people competing, but there just wasn't that many people traveling.
Yeah.
And then when I looked at each individual comp, I was like, oh, no, there's a lot of people that just keep turning up. Yeah. So, Hercules is good. Yeah. That means there's a lot of people at novice, intermediate, at that strength level that want to compete.
Yeah. And that want to start looking at, I mean, they dip their toes in the water and you do your first novice comp and stuff like that. And that's a great entryway or a great way to open the floodgate in terms of they'll do that comp, they'll have a good time and they'll want to keep doing more and look for more opportunities. And that means more depth long term. So, super positive. And then this weekend, we have the late band of qualifiers for the Clash or ASI, the competition in the week in January. And ASM and all that sort of stuff as well. So a big weekend of qualifiers. There's Vic's Strongest Man, which is shaping up to be a pretty good comp. There's reasonable amount of people and stuff.
A lot of open men.
Yeah.
A lot of open men.
Yeah. which is cool. I mean, like the depth of the open weights is sort of starting to show.
Yep.
I mean, there's pretty good depth across most classes, I think.
105s, there's still a few. 90s, there's 5 of us. 80s is small. Women is pretty scarce.
Yeah, so not heaps.
It's not terrible.
It's also pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, that makes a big difference in terms of who's going to sign up or who feels like they're capable of signing up.
Yep.
4 in 64s, 2 in 73s, 4 in 82. So females is a little bit light on, like opens just 2. With Katie and Nick, which is going to be a tough one without any other competitors, both very, very close, but no one else to share points or to create a competition around them. So it's really just head-to-head who can win more events or who's strongest across more events. So that makes a really tough day for those 2 girls because I know they're super competitive. 80 kilo guys, you've got 3, James Newberry in there as well, which is cool. He should do really well, actually.
Yeah.
Then you've got the 590s and then a fair few in the 105s. You've got like 6 or 7.
Yep.
And then the heavyweights is huge. Heavyweights is a big comp.
Yep.
A lot of guys, I think, also trying to vie for ASM spots, which is why you see a few of those guys in there, or a few of those names in there. Like Aiden coming down for the heavyweights in the hope to qualify for ASM, which won't be easy.
Not with those events.
Not with those
not
events.
With the people that
like
are in
static events, and there's like, I mean, Jordan Osborne doing it, like Vern's doing it. There's a lot of other good guys in there.
Jordan's qualified.
Yes.
So regardless of how he goes, he won't take the spot.
Doesn't really matter. Yeah. But yeah, super competitive comp in a lot of those weight classes, which is really cool. WAs is on the weekend as well. ACT, which should be, that's always a good comp. ACT, like I feel like these guys run a really good competition every year.
Well, it's always at the show.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's always a very popular comp as well. And then Taz, Coastal Carnage, which is awesome. To have like Taz running like a really cool comp. The Strength Den and Ryan Frizy running it. That looks like a really good comp as well.
Yeah, so that one you've got...
Cool events. I like the events for that.
Eddie and Fardy
are going down?
Fighting for a spot. Yeah, I think it's mainly those two.
They've gone the Tassie migration to try and qualify, which is really interesting because like we've talked about this before, how you'll see people try to travel to qualify to comps where they're hoping that they'll be able to qualify, but like with the harder the qualifying spots get, especially with the heavyweights getting stronger and everyone wants to do ASM, it's going to get a lot harder to qualify. And traveling is not going to guarantee you a spot if like 2 great guys go down. Like only one's going to get it. Yeah. So
and you still have to travel.
And it's the opportunities to qualify for ASM are dwindling.
Well, they're doing the Bisa Burden, that once off that last minute thing.
Yes.
As well.
But qualification's still dwindling. Like the spots are going. Yeah. Yeah. So that's pretty exciting. So there's a big weekend coming up. Yeah. This weekend for Strongman in Australia, which is going to be really cool to see.
Yeah. There'll be both women in the Opens have already qualified for VIX.
Yeah. For ASM or ASW.
So I'd spoken to a few people and they're like, wait, does that mean if I just jump in and do it, I'd qualify for ASW? Yeah. I'm like, as long as you don't zero, then yes. Yeah. They're like, oh, well, I'm not doing it because fuck that. But then it's like you can't zero and it's still a 200 kilo deadlift.
Yeah, it's still heavy.
It's still a pretty heavy squat.
Yeah, exactly. Like you still have to be able to deadlift 200 kilos.
And pick up 100 kilo implements.
Yes.
Sandbag
or just coffin. Have to do one. You'd have to be able to do one for the 10 meters.
Still 100 kilos.
Yeah, still heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you're like, oh, yeah, I'll just jump in and qualify, but you still have to be strong. And that's the idea behind not being able to zero, I guess, is so people can't just jump in and be like, oh, yep, cool. No one's in that event. Everyone's already qualified. I'll jump in and get a spot. Yeah. And then get to ASW and be like, oh, fuck.
Eventually you have to earn your spot.
Yeah. 100%.
One day in this country.
Well, it seems...
Mind you, in America, everybody can do nationals.
Oh, yeah.
Like one of the nationals has got like 600-700 competitors or something.
Which is huge.
And it's like, well, that's just the whole country.
Yeah.
It's probably still not.
Yeah. And the load's heavy?
I think one is, one isn't. One's tied with Arnold.
Yeah.
Like Arnold's, and it leads towards that.
There's 2 nationals.
Yeah. And then the other one leads towards Clash.
Yeah.
I think one's an entry into Clash, one's an entry into Arnold.
As far as the nationals go.
Yeah.
I guess when you've got 52 state comps.
Yep.
It's a lot of state comps versus us.
Yep.
And the depth of competitors. But still, I'm not sure whether that's the best Like, I don't think I would open up nationals to anyone who wants to come along. I like qualifying for nationals. Otherwise, it's a huge day too as a competitor. Like,
$100 comp fee, 700 people jumping in the comp.
It's a business. Yeah. All right, everybody. You can say that you're a national level athlete. Just give us $100. Yeah. There's 600 of you. Thank you very much. We'll put on a show.
You want a $10 t-shirt? Just give me $100. You can get your t-shirt.
Yeah.
And you want your name on the back?
Yeah. Extra 5.
Yeah.
And you were able to change your Instagram bio to national level strongman.
Yep.
That's an extra 50.
Are we going to start getting like a pro division like America?
I don't think so. I don't think that'll ever happen.
Doesn't seem to work over there.
I mean, what's your definition of pro too?
Well, they get their pro card.
Do we just call it a pro card and you're pro, but you still spend all your money each week on food supplements and you're not making anything off the sport?
I think you spend more.
Yeah,
because I think the other comps are more expensive.
And you got to upkeep your professional athlete lifestyle, but you're not making any money from being I mean, from my understanding, like a professional athlete is someone who does it for a job.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's the majority of your income.
Yeah, or at least, I mean, like, let's start with
a chunk.
Let's start with contributing to your income.
Yeah,
like that would be a good place to start.
Has to pay a week's rent.
Yeah,
at least once.
Once. Yeah, like once,
full rent.
Once in a year has to cover your rent, and then we'll talk about having pro strongman in there. I mean, yeah, the pro strongman thing. I mean, I remember when I first went to the States, and the guys were like, "Oh yeah, I'm a pro 105," and I was like, "Oh man, like you guys got pro 105s. That's wild." And then as you progress and you realize that nowhere else in the world has like a pro 105 class. And if you're good, you're just a pro. Do you know what I mean? Like the pro isn't getting you anywhere in the world stage. It's not getting you any opportunities that are greater than any other 105s besides in America, where you get to compete in the pro shows. But then you can't compete in any other shows. You can't do like your states and stuff like that because they're not pro shows. So then you're limited on, you have to only compete in the heavyweights and stuff like that. So it's actually limiting in terms of the amount of competitions that they can do, from my understanding. But I'm not I'm not a pro athlete. I'm not a pro 105, so I don't know what I'm talking about, I guess.
Yeah, they posted on like official Strongman, and it was one of the women talking about OSG. And saying it's so good because there's no barriers, anyone can do it. So you get pros, amateurs, all getting to do the same comp.
Yeah.
So you get everyone. And I'd never really thought about it. And I was like, oh, like their comps are split in half. You could have amateurs that are going to destroy pros and vice versa. Yeah. And they don't get to compete with each other except for like America's Strongest Man or something like that.
That was the most interesting thing that I found post doing Arnold's.
There's only so many of us, and then they just like split everyone up even more.
It's Arnold's amateur.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So if you've got your pro card, this might be wrong, but like Arnold's was an amateur competition because it's Arnold's amateur pro or like Arnold's amateur or something like that. So when I was competing in the 105s, like some of those guys, some of those good guys, I don't think could do it.
Yeah,
because they all had their pro card.
Yep.
So and like if you win the Arnold's as a 105, you get your pro card or something like that in the States.
Yeah.
So I found that really interesting because I was like, oh, so it's not even the best guys going to Arnold's. Is that correct? I don't know.
Yeah, it makes it confusing. Someone said about it ages ago because like Kia ages ago. Remember here when the first Arnold's, they were like, all right, whoever wins 64s gets their pro card.
Yes.
And they gave that out on certain random years, like 2019, I think it was, or 18 was like the 82s. Yeah. So Lucia got a pro card, which meant she could have gone and done the pro show against Donna Moore and big stacked up people. And then a few people here were like, does that mean that they now can't come back and do our Arnold's because they're a pro?
Because it's Arnold's amateur.
I'm like, well, we don't have pros. And if that was the case, they're not allowed to compete in the country.
Yeah.
Like what do you do?
Yeah.
like you just
thank
give
you for
up.
my pro card. Please take it back.
Decline. I can't afford to do the pro.
Yeah, 100%. Unless that pro card means you're going to pay me to go overseas and compete all the time.
Yeah, pay for my flights over.
Yeah.
Like the other guys.
Yeah. Like the heavyweight pros who get paid to go compete.
Yeah, so Kia did that and jumped in the pro show.
Yeah.
But she was 64 kilos.
Yes.
So it's like, what a piss take.
Yeah.
You win your pro card, go against people.
Now you can go compete against the open women pros.
It's like me winning a comp and being like, you get your pro card, now go beat Novikov.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah,
I'll go get a photo.
But that's exactly what it is. Like, that's the top level of female sport in strongman. So that's like you winning a 90s pro card. And you're like, okay, so you're a pro now. Okay, cool. Arnold's. Like, I mean, now you can go do Giants Live and World's Strongest Man. 5'8". You know,
it's being generous.
No, no, on a good day.
Yeah,
on a day,
not after yoke.
No, yeah, on a day not after yoke.
Yeah,
and then like 90 kilos.
Yeah,
you know, like that's tough work.
Yeah,
very like that's the comparison. That's the direct comparison. So
yeah. Actually, what's his name? Kevin Ferris.
Yeah,
did Rogan stuff. Not many people remember or know that he was like the SCL World's under 105.
He was also the Arnold's winner when I did it. And
Yeah.
he was so fucking strong.
Yeah.
Like, he's a brute.
And Rob Kearney had like the log record and was
Rob
a top
Kearney
105.
was a 105.
Graham
Damaris,
Hicks?
Yeah, Graham Hicks, 105.
Yeah.
Yeah. All good 105s. All guys that were pushing to be 105.
Yeah.
Like, I remember like Sean Damaris used to cut a huge amount of weight. Rob Kearney used to cut a fair bit of weight.
Yep.
He was a pretty good 105 though. Like, he was probably more close to 105.
Yeah.
Kevin Ferris was a jacked 105. I remember rocking up to Arnold's and being like, what? like brass knuckles and stuff like that. Like, you know, like when you go over there and some of the 105s, I'm like, there is no way.
Yep.
That's like, you're not carrying an ounce of body fat and you're 1.5 times me. Like, you can't be 105. That's not physically possible.
Recheck the scales.
Yeah. Can we get another weigh in over here?
You're like looking at the pound conversion, being like, is that allowed?
Yeah. So, I mean, all really good 105s and all 105s that have stepped it up to the world stage.
Yeah.
Which is obviously, I guess, those guys top out that weight class, but also top out the performance level of that weight class and then start competing in heavies.
Yep.
Yeah. But Kevin Ferris is doing amazingly well.
Yeah.
Like, across all like competitions. Like, he did World's Strongest Man, did very well.
Yep.
He's a strong guy. Nice guy too.
No, so that's a good thing about expos. Like, not that there's any expos anymore or there is none here, but you get to see more and more people that you see online in person.
Yeah.
Like, you see the bodybuilders, you see everybody, and then you get a perspective of like, oh, you see bodybuilders and you're like, a lot shorter than what I thought. Not a big person, but then everything just goes like this, and you're like, that's fucked. And then you see the strongman, and you're like, yeah, way taller than what I was expecting. Like, everyone's like, yeah, they're huge, and you're like, yeah, they're huge, and then you're like, oh,
like I remember when
we're not the same species.
When Thor came down for Arnold's Australia, and he was walking through the crowd, and he's just like 2 heads above the crowd, like 190 kilos. It's just not human. Like, it shouldn't be allowed genetically. It's not okay. Like, it is definitely just like another species. Like Brian Shaw, like when he was down, I was sitting there. That was a year that I didn't compete. And I remember standing there next to him having a chat.
Hurt your neck.
All right. I'm glad I didn't compete.
Yeah.
I was stiff for days.
Yeah. I feel like you just walk past and tap people on the head. And be like,
yeah.
Good job. Off you go.
Yeah, man. They're just big guys.
Yeah.
Just another species for sure.
Yeah, no, I met him at the first one, 2015 or whatever it was.
Who's this?
Brian Shaw.
Yeah.
And saw him out back and stuff because I was helping load and volunteer and stuff. Made a joke that we'd be cousins because we have the same last name. Didn't find it that funny, hey?
Oh, no, tiny human. No, we're not related.
Yeah, I'd say it was like a language barrier, but he's American.
Maybe a humour barrier.
Yeah.
We do speak Australian, so maybe he didn't get it.
Brian back then was a little bit more like deadpan, and he didn't open up yet. He didn't have Eddie throwing shit at him 24/7.
I mean, he
lacked personality back then.
Definitely after talking to him though, quickly became like one of my more favorite heavyweight strongmen. Just from watching him, his meticulousness, like he knew his yoke height in centimeters or like, you know, distance, like inches or whatever. He was very, very particular in terms of like, you know, just setting things up stone. Like I just like watching him do his craft.
He just walked up to Mason and was like, "Can you just put the yoke at this height?"
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you want to check your height?" And he's like, "No, just that number. Set it to that."
Yeah.
He's like, "That's my yoke height."
Yeah. So just meticulous. Like that's a craftsman, right? That's someone who's been doing it for so long, who just knows his craft well.
That's the person that I learned that like you go and set up your stones if you've got a series, and if no one's touched the last one, there's no tacky on it.
Yeah.
And you would go up and kind of like reposition your stone and basically just put tacky exactly where you want to put it.
I also use that.
And then you go back and put more tacky on your arms. So when you get to that last one, it's already got something on it.
Go out, you put tacky on your hands, you go out, you adjust the last stone or the last two stones just to put like tack them up a little bit. And then you go back and put more tacky on. I learned that off him too. It's very clever.
So there you go. Anyone listening?
There's a secret.
Someone's going to hate it. The comp, like Mason, everyone running comps is going to be like, everyone's taking 10 minutes to set their stones.
Everyone's got a tape measure out for their yoke now. Everyone's got their
tacky and they're just
spending 20 minutes to re-tack between their little touch.
They start grabbing tacky out and slapping it on the stone.
I really liked Brian. He's like a really nice guy, especially compared to like some of the other ones that I've met who have just been kind of exactly what you'd expect from certain ones.
Plenty of nice ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice ones. Team events in Australia. We had Chaos, was it called?
Oh,
Compound Chaos? No. Maybe?
Not Chaos.
No.
That was the compound.
Mason ran one though. It
was just the contest, I think.
The contest, yeah. That was fun. So like 4-person competitions. Obviously a lot of organising and stuff and hard to sort of band together groups and that kind of stuff. But even like if you went Victoria and did like certain gyms and stuff, it'd be really cool to kind of bring back some like team events, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have many. I think New South Wales have one soon.
Yeah,
I think MacArthur.
Yeah, I've seen people
have
like
a
partner comps, which would be cool.
Yeah, logistically like an absolute nightmare, but in terms of like getting people in, there'd be heaps.
We're just suggesting this because we want to do a partner comp.
Yeah, or a team comp
and win everything.
You could just do like a state team comp. I mean, if one state can organize themselves and pick people,
that'd be cool.
Or like state versus state.
Yeah, like just all in like one comp. And then one team per state.
Good luck.
Having people come to a unanimous decision.
That's a way to start different gym wars.
There's only like one gym down here pretty much, so we're fine. There's not many of us.
Yeah, there's not a heap. I mean, there is a few strongman gyms, but not heaps. But I think like if you looked at the...
And we all get along because we're all like 2 hours away from each other.
We're all far enough away together.
Yeah.
We're all nice to each other.
Yeah. I wouldn't even know if someone had a problem because I'd be like, I never see anyone.
Doesn't travel down that far. We're isolated down here in Geelong because we're so far away. You know, it's an hour down the highway. Did you know? Yeah,
That's a long way.
It's a long way, apparently.
Yeah,
it's a long way for Melburnians and a short way for Geelongians. I think it would be fun.
Yeah,
I think it'd be fun. I don't know where it would fit on the calendar. I don't know who would run it. I'm not putting my hand up because I feel like it would be messy. But I mean, like state competitions would be cool. Like gym wars kind of thing would be fun. That would be a great day. Like pick 4 people, like kind of like contests, like under and over 100 or something like that.
Yep.
In each weight class and stuff. Have your events kind of set. That would be fun. But partner comps would be really good too.
Yeah. Yeah. You did team comp.
Yeah, I did team comp in the Ukraine. I was
speaking of logistics, that looked messy. Like the overheads, people coming in and out.
Yeah. Logistics from the team point of view, from the as an organized comp, they do a lot of them over there. So overseas, you know, you've got in the UK, they do like the Strongest Nation and stuff like that. They run that. They run some like UK based ones. And then over in Europe, like the Ukraine one, they actually run those. Or they did run those yearly.
Yeah.
So like they sort of had the formula down pat in terms of like, as far as running the comp went, it was actually very smooth. And it was a really, really fun comp.
Yep.
So you chose the people that you would do it all, almost like you would, like everyone would almost do every event.
Yep.
So it was like, it wasn't like pick and choose. It was kind of like you had 4, I mean, mine was 105s. So it was like Strongest 105 Nation. So it was 4 of us from 105s. 3 Czech Republicans and moi.
An adopted Czech
And an
Republic.
adopted, yeah. I mean, I was a citizen for 4 weeks.
Yeah. Paid rent.
Yeah, I paid rent. No, I didn't. I stayed for free with Yuri.
Yeah.
He's a very nice person. I chipped in. Yeah, and that was a super fun comp.
Yeah.
So we did like farmers, and it was like a farmer relay. So it was like 140 a hand, and you'd kind of like bring it in, or it had to go, like the farmers had to do X amount of revolutions. So you would take it up, you would take it back, the next person would take it up. If they failed, you kind of want to jump in kind of thing. So you'd just be kind of like rotating through as much as possible. Or I think that it was like everyone had to get it like 20 meters, like up and back kind of thing. And then there was like the points events. So there was like a squat for reps, a stone to shoulder, like a deadlift and something else, for example, right?
Yep.
And you would all go out there and you would all have 60 seconds to get as many reps as possible, and they would accumulate the reps. So you choose like your best stone person for the stone to shoulder, your best squatter for the squat for reps, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And it was really fun, like really, really fun. The overhead's messy because, you know, you all go out there and you you logisticize, all right, so me and Peter are going to do like the dual log. So there's like 2 people on a log. So they have like big long logs and they're like dual logs. So you have to time it together.
That's cool.
So you're like cleaning together. All right, press. And then there's like, so you did like a double log, and then there would be like a keg press and someone would jump in for that. And then there'd be a 3 log. So you'd have 3 people doing the log, and it would be like 140 or like heavier. Do you know what I mean? And then there'd be like a monster dumbbell, and someone who was good at monster dumbbell would jump in and hit the monster dumbbell. So you'd be rotating in, and then if someone missed one, you'd kind of someone would jump in and try to like get the weight, and you're just trying to get it all done as quickly as possible. So super fun.
Yeah, that's like what Grid League is.
Yeah.
Branched off from like CrossFit.
Yeah, super fun.
Yeah, send people in and out the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, it would be really cool to see.
Yeah.
But
should have more of it.
What it looks like, how we do it, who runs it, that's the other thing.
Yeah. If you were over there and you hit a record, would you have the Czech record? Because you're an adopted
Check-ins?
Czechian?
I'll confer with Mitchell Hooper and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Who is, by the way, absolutely fucking crushing it.
Yeah.
Side note.
Speaking of like being smart with events and like Brian Shaw and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's eventually getting to that stage.
Yeah. Refining
He started Worlds with like, never pulled a truck. How hard can it be?
Yeah.
And then basically came last on truck pull.
He's got a great mentor as well.
Yeah. And now is like being calculated with it. That Husafel sandbag carry.
Yeah.
Literally the people that just picked it up right got the furthest.
Yeah.
And the people that picked it up stupid
Yeah.
didn't get very far.
I mean, his yoke into log blew my mind. Like,
makes sense. That's everyone's
two very good events.
Log, not so much.
He's got a good log. It's a 200, not the best, but
yeah. But like 160 would be hard if the yoke fatigued you like it should.
Yeah, sure.
But because the yoke didn't do anything,
it's fine. He's fresh.
Yeah, everyone else is like kind of like Bobby took a while to get through it because the yoke cooked him.
Yeah.
Even though he's got like a 220 log or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, big advantage.
The strategy on the Husafel, like you see some of the guys take ages to pick it up.
Yeah.
And like it looks like they're fumbling with it. And it's like there's no time limit on the event. It's just carry this thing as far as you can.
All right.
So if you take your time to pick it up, everyone else goes before you. You just follow along where everyone is. And when everybody basically fails, you know that you just have to go further.
Yeah.
If you're out in front,
So
you don't know where anyone else is.
Yeah.
So if you like stall and you're the last person to go, you get to see everyone else take off.
Yeah, for sure.
Which you see like the top guys do.
Yeah. Makes a big difference in an event like that. Like distance events, rep events.
Yeah.
Huge difference. State of origin for like log stone deadlift or like log stone deadlift log stone deadlift.
Log stone deadlift logs.
Yeah. Something along those lines would be cool as well. Like, you know, how we do those like log deadlift stone competitions and stuff like that. Instead of just doing it as like a standalone event, each person kind of does it, like have a state of origin kind of thing and have
that
a
would
competition.
Be cool.
Yeah, like a team event around that, which would be fun as well.
Yeah.
Any promoters listening? Love to see it.
Yeah. Basically like what Statics has done, but not so much worldwide.
Yeah, just like Australian. Yeah.
Yeah.
That
That would open up like more possibility for overheads at every other comp, because if you've got statics and if you've got that, you've got a max log.
Yeah.
Probably don't need to throw a max log in any other comp for that many other years. Like it won't get overcooked because you've always got that
You've
max
always
log,
got
max
two.
deadlift.
If people want to do those comps too, they're very specific, like heavy comps.
Yep. But they're great beginner comps. Like I think it was the first comp Katie did.
Yeah.
Because you just go in and do what you can.
It's a great, it's the barrier between strongman and powerlifting. The big difference why people say like, oh, like powerlifting is very easy as an entry level sport because you get to choose your weight, and in strongman you don't.
Yep.
So if you're looking at competitions and there's nothing that suits your capabilities at this stage, there's no comps for you until you get sort of strong enough.
Yep.
Like there's no way to dip your foot in the water, but like
there's a few division based comps, like Brisbane North Barbell.
Yeah,
used to run a series and it was like Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and it was just light to heavy,
which is a great idea.
Except people would keep jumping in one division when they should probably step up and jump in the next.
Yeah,
that's the only problem.
Hard to police.
Yeah,
I mean that's the idea between like novice events and like open events and stuff like that as well. Is
there's always
similar,
one.
just like 100%. It's always hard to police, but I still like a great idea in terms of like those comps are a great one for beginners, like Static Monsters. Great one for people getting into the sport to sort of do because it's two skills. It's not a lot of skills. You're focusing on two things, two primary things in strongman, I guess, like a deadlift pattern and like an overhead pattern.
Great for powerlifters.
Great for powerlifters to change over.
Better than statics because it's like it's just a deadlift.
Yeah,
you can you can keep mixed gripping it.
Yeah,
you don't need straps.
Yeah, so those events are fantastic for like people to sort of jump into as well because it is hard comparatively. If like powerlifting, you get novice comps of powerlifting and stuff like that, and they can choose their weights and they can do an 80-kilo squat.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? They don't have to jump in and like meet a standard from the get go. So stuff like that is fantastic.
Or people are a little bit injured or their prep hasn't gone well. They're like, well, I'll just turn up and have a good day.
Yeah.
And I'll just taper my numbers back.
Yeah.
Log's always good. I keep telling people log is the gateway drug to strongman.
Yeah. Like it's like a deadlift and a log. So like, just changing your bench.
Yeah. And then there's stones, which for some they either love it or some they hate it. But everything's intimidating. Whereas you put someone on a log from weightlifting, from powerlifting, and they're like, oh, that's fun. I don't think I'd ever do a comp again, but I might keep logging. Like everyone says that. But you.
I wouldn't mind going. Actually,
the thing is, if you weren't good at anything else, you'd probably enjoy log.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah, it's the fact that I just like...
You're good at everything else. You're like, I'll go run a yoke. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's not fun for beginners. It hurts.
Yeah, that's true. Records in Australia. Bom, bom, bom.
Very dead at the moment.
Yeah, it just resurfaces all the time, doesn't it? And like, I feel like I'm a hypocrite, like bringing it, like or talking about this topic because I've been so vehement in terms of like records don't matter in terms of like, and in terms of the goal is to win competitions, right?
Yeah.
Like, and even looking at, someone was talking to me about the upcoming comps and stuff, and Victoria's Strongest Man and middleweight series, and like, oh, like how will you go in this event and stuff? I'm like, well, I think I'm strong enough to do well across the board.
Yep.
I don't know whether I'll win all events. Like, I don't think I'm going to go 5 for 5 in the next 3 comps.
Yep.
But it's not about that.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do the best across all events, and then I'll win the comp because that's what matters. You can beat, like, so everyone's like, oh, I want to beat you in like this event and this event. And it's like, well, go for it. Because
I just want to win.
I want to win the comp.
Yeah,
like that's fine. But so like strongman records and stuff like that. So I've been talking a lot about, or have talked previously in the past about how like I'm not a huge fan of the strongman records because they sort of overtook. Everyone was trying to break records, and we sort of forgot about the fact that like we're here to win competitions. Like the titles matter, and we've talked about this on the podcast. Someone can take a record away from you, but no one can take away ASM 2020 from you.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? But there has been talks as of late around resurfacing or consolidating the Australian records.
Yep.
Which has happened like 3 times. Do you know what
Yeah,
I
it
mean?
comes and
That's
goes.
my only like hesitation around it. It's like everyone's tried to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like we had Strongman Gold Coast run a records thing.
Yeah.
We had Carl and Camilla recently try to like reconsolidate the records on like a national and like international scale and stuff like that.
Yep.
Hard job.
Very hard job because no one's going to submit anything.
Yeah, and you're
So you have to
focusing on
chase it.
people. You're focusing on people submitting it.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, but like, haven't you done this? It's like, yeah, but I just didn't submit it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, you look at like
have to care.
you look at powerlifting.
yeah,
And if you want to go for a national record or a world record in a lot of federations, you can't do it at any comp.
yeah.
You need a referee that is
Yeah.
of a certain standard.
Qualified referee. Yeah.
So even at GPC nationals, when anybody wanted to go for like a world record or anything like that, a different head judge came out
yes.
and had to judge it
Yeah,
specifically
correct.
for that.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can just jump in a powerlifting comp and go, I'm going to pull a world record.
Yeah.
Even if you do it, they're like, it doesn't count.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
We're not going to count it because we don't have the proper officials here to tick that off.
Yeah. Which really elevates the standard of the record too. Do you know what I mean?
A lot don't want strongman to be standardized, but this is one thing that
Don't standardize
has
strongman.
to-
Strongman. I've been going through the archives a little bit in terms of like watching some old World's Strongest Man stuff. And it
just sitting
has-
there with Coulter being like,
Yeah.
look, this is going to be you.
Look, he's going to be a prodigy, right? He sits there next to me while I do check-ins all day, analyzing people's lifts. I'm thinking it's going to be his earliest development is listening
Yeah.
to me like go through strongman people and like analyze what they're doing wrong.
Yep.
And then Sunday morning, we might sit there and watch some old World's Strongest Man. I don't know, you know, like
Sitting there with the bottle and Jazz is like, he's already had a liter of milk. He's got to get bigger.
he's actually put on so much weight.
Yeah.
Like we
Have a donut.
He had a check. He had a check the other day, and like the average is like 200 or 300 grams, and he's been putting on like 400, 500 grams a week, and his head's huge. And I was like, oh, my bad. They measured his head. She was like, oh, we'll just double check that.
Yep.
And he's like, oh no, he's just got a really big head. And Jazz came home and she's like, I knew his singlets are really hard to get over his head.
I thought she was going to say, I knew like the birth was really terrible.
And I was just growing at an exponential rate.
Yeah.
Anyways, watching old strongman stuff, I like my viewpoints have kind of changed in terms of like I really like watching old strongman stuff and seeing some of the old weird events that like World's Strongest Man had. They just there was no formula or standardization, but records need to be standardized.
Yeah.
Right? Like if we have records, we need to have really clear parameters around what constitutes a record. Do you know what I mean? So like, and what events do we actually like? What events are we keeping track of? Like, what events matter in terms of like records? Do you know what I mean? Like log, axle, circus dumbbell, overhead events. Would they be three?
I mean, if block's floating around and it's the same size block,
Yeah,
block could be,
keep
but
a block.
but it needs to be the same size block.
Yeah, and like it has to be standardized, right? Where at least 12-inch logs. So I would say for like ease sake, like, do we really care about a block record in Oz at this current state? Like, is that something that we really need to keep track of?
I don't think it's going to come back enough, and people are going to keep breaking records for it to be exciting.
Let's keep it like, you know, we don't have a sumo deadlift and a deadlift record in powerlifting. We have a squat, bench, and deadlift record. So we keep it relatively standardized. Like in my humble, personal, no one gives a fuck opinion.
The 3 viewers.
Yeah, the 3 viewers who are listening.
Oh, probably 4. I met one at
Hercules, great, another one. Fuck yeah. I think like if we look at the overheads, we look at monster dumbbell, axle, log records.
Yep.
Right. All standardized, 12-inch. Don't care what log you use, but like a 12-inch log. Or blah blah blah, XYZ. Then we look at like deadlifting. We look at like a conventional deadlift off the floor.
Yep.
We make it calibrated plates, deadlift bar. Like
if it's not calibrated plates, then someone's got to figure out how much it weighs.
Yeah, I mean,
someone's got to rip like the black.
It's hard
steel
in
plates that we've
strongman.
got.
Really, the less rules, the better, right?
Yeah.
But in records, surely we need to have some sort of like standardization around what. They
Yeah,
are,
we could
right?
just make it calibrated plates, so then you don't have to put it on the scales and weigh it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can do that too. Don't really care. 18-inch, like we keep the 18-inch actual record as a thing.
Yeah, I mean, statics is going to do it every year, but outside of statics, no one's putting it into comp.
Yeah, so
because it's in statics.
statics, right?
So it's there, it exists. You can keep
People
track
do
of
it.
it.
We can keep putting it in there. People can submit it and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, are they the two deadlifts? Do we really want to? Do we want a silver dollar deadlift? Lots of variables in that. Too hard to keep track of. Do we really care about a silver dollar deadlift record? Like,
Not many people.
how big
do.
are the boxes? Wait, what bar did you use? Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of stuff.
The bar is everything.
The bar is everything.
So
right.
when we prep for compound,
Even what kind of power bar?
Well, we were using a Texas power bar.
Yeah.
And it wasn't breaking the ground until here.
Yeah.
And it felt like it wasn't a deadlift bar, but it flexed like a deadlift bar. And then Mason was like, oh, no, we're going to use a Goliath power bar. And
much stiffer.
Halfway through those warm-ups,
Yeah.
I got a rude shock.
Very different.
And then I got used to it again, and it was fine.
So that's probably like, I just don't think it really matters. Like, I think deadlift is deadlift, and then like have maybe the 18-inch because it's very easy.
Yeah.
Moving events, yoke, 15 meters unbroken.
Yeah.
All right.
15 seems good.
Farmers, 20 unbroken.
Yeah.
And so like we care about yoke and farmers. They're the moving events that we care about, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Stone, 1.2.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yep.
What else?
That's the bulk of it.
Yeah, like that's the records that maybe we should be keeping track of.
Yeah.
And then we look at like
that's the bulk of it. You could do a stone to shoulder or something like that, but hard to judge. It's rarely going to pop up. It's probably not worth it.
Yeah. So they're what we should be keeping track of in Australia if we're going to do it and we do it right. Then what are the parameters or rules? Can we like get rid of like a yoke with 7 drops over 15 meters?
Can we get rid of a yoke with 7 drops over 5 meters?
Yeah. Like, let's standardize it. It's like, okay, we'll use the A, like, just for ease sake, right? Feet on the line, feet on the line.
Yeah.
15 meters. Yoke doesn't hit the ground.
Yeah.
Record.
Yep.
Right? Farmer's handles. Do you go tip to tip?
You could do the same with feet on the line. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Right. So
if you're going for a record and it's going to be a big record, you're probably going to go over that line. If you're not going to skid over, it's like the opposite of benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with something that big.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a benefit of the doubt of like, oh, it looks pretty good.
Yeah. It should be
in a comp. You keep the flow of reps.
It should be convincingly a record, right?
If you're doing reps in a comp, it's like you want to keep the flow on of a comp. You don't want to make somebody stare you in the eyes for 7 seconds.
So
getting a down call.
Farmers 20 meters, no drops.
Yep.
Right. Which I mean, like the farmers is already kind of like acknowledged as no drops, right? But the yoke for some reason isn't. Monster dumbbell, locked out, stable, feet side by side.
Yep.
Elbow locked out. You hold it overhead.
Yep.
Doesn't seem so hard, but it seems to be hard.
It's a very hard one.
Yeah.
Did you see the calls from Rogue? Martin's got like a very
Dubious
loosely
call.
given one.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of pressure on refs too.
Yeah, he even said that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, not the athlete's fault either. Do you know what I mean? Like, not the athlete's fault.
Well, that's the thing with records. I can sit there and be like, oh, they're like, oh, so-and-so broke this record. And I can be like, no, they didn't.
And also video
it's
view
not
and stuff
their
like
fault.
that. Yeah, also video views and stuff like that from some angles and other angles. Like, remember the block press at ASM?
Yeah.
And like from behind, we were like, fuck, that's not locked out. But from the front, they all looked really good. Like, we looked to watch the footage and we're like, oh, no shit. Like, they actually look great.
Yeah, from the back, we're just like, what's going on?
Yeah, like, fuck, this
is rough.
Yeah, that's given.
Yeah.
So, like, monster dumbbell, axle, pretty obvious. Any clean technique. Let's just take out the belt clean thing in terms of like just get it to your shoulders.
Yeah,
right?
I don't like belt cleans, and it's mostly because I just don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I don't know how to do
And
it,
I
but like for
it.
ease of records or something like that.
For
like,
comparison to internationals,
yeah,
you have to. And if they're like, oh, the Australian record's this, but we don't allow belt cleans. Everyone else is like, we don't give a fuck.
And I disagree in terms of like competitions. Promoters can run it no belt cleans. That's fine because it's comp specific.
Yeah.
But if it's a record, standardize it and say like, well, we just got to get to your shoulders and then. I don't like belt cleans either. I think that they shouldn't be allowed technically. Like I don't see like if you can hang there and sit there, right? Like it doesn't make sense to me. But in saying that, if it's like if it's a record event, then just like make it easy. The less rules, the better, right? Or the less dubious it is to get an idea of like what's acceptable, the better. And then log press, obviously, send a log overhead.
Yep.
They're pretty basic.
Yep.
But pretty easy, right? Deadlift, lock it out.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah, straps.
Deadlift, you could either go suit, no suit. Most of the world is
We could have
suit.
2 records, but I just think like make it. It's a strongman deadlift, suit deadlift record.
Yeah.
1 record.
Yeah.
You choose not to use a suit. Choose not to use a suit. Choose to use a suit. Use a suit.
Yeah.
But it's strongman. Strongman records, especially on the national level, strongman deadlift is a suit and straps.
Yeah.
That's allowed. So that's what should be the standard in terms of like breaking a record.
And then the same with belt cleans, comp specific.
Yeah.
You run a comp
Yeah,
and you're like,
100%.
no suits.
Don't allow suits and comps. That's fine. It's comp specific. And that's a part and parcel of being an athlete, right? You go to a competition, everyone complains about no belt cleans or no suits or blah, blah, blah. Well, no, it's like part of strongman is that rules vary.
Yeah.
Like you have to be able to do a belt clean or not do a belt clean. You have to be able to deadlift with a suit or without a suit.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of strongman is like it's varied. There's challenges.
What about belt loops on stones? I've seen world records get broken that way.
Yeah, fuck.
Cheeky,
but fucking
like little hook it on.
Yeah, I know. Seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I have an opinion.
Speaking of stone record, are you going to break the stone record
Fuck
at
no,
round
probably
3?
not.
Why not? I saw Ran doing stones and double dumbbell, and I'm like, oh, if you two do 105s, and you can push for like a big stone.
I don't think I'll be strong enough. I think
It'll be there on the day.
Going back to like what we're talking about in terms of like training for like the 3 comps and stuff like that, I don't feel like I can sink or invest all those pennies into the stone.
Yep.
When I'm like it's 4 weeks.
Yep.
I haven't really done a lot of stones. I'm probably going to try to manage my weight at 108. I'm probably not going to get much above.
Yep.
I'm probably going to be pretty chill with everything. Like I'm just kind of focusing on my thing at the moment is like my thing when I got back was get strong.
Yep.
Maintain strong, train a lot of strongman, be specific with it, do all the event work and stuff week to week. It's not like peak strength, but it's like get strong to compete and win comps. ASI, I'll make a bit more of a push in those like 6 weeks between comps. But then the idea is to like step back for a couple months after ASI and then push for next year to get like really strong.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do April.
Yeah, do April, push for April
time.
and then like really just try to like maintain strength and really commit to like the 2 or 3 year plan versus like, oh, I'm just going to fucking send it for this stone.
Yeah.
Or like send it for this, like I just want to hit a 400 kilo deadlift. I'm kind of, maybe it's age, but I'm kind of looking at it like a 2 year plan kind of thing. Like get strong, maintain, pull back, push, build, put some more work in, and then peak. Do you know what I mean? And then try to get strong and maintain that for as long as possible and hit a lot of comps.
Well, we spoke a lot lately about like earning a certain weight.
Yeah.
And like, and you could get a big PB.
Yeah.
And you got the PB, but you haven't really earned it in the sense of like, you still can't do 4s at this weight. You still can't do 3s at this weight, which should equate to that PB.
Yes. Yeah.
Which means your PB is going to be really inconsistent.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to hit it again.
It's not feeling like everything. And
you get a 20 kilo PB and it's like, that's sick, but you haven't done all the baby steps to get there, which means that now you got to go through a really rough time and you might not get a PB for another 6 months.
Yeah. So like, I mean, if I'm looking at like, okay, let's look at middleweight series and it's like, are you going to break the stone record? No, but I think like if Ryan breaks the stone record and he beats me on stone, that's fine because like if I hit a 200 kilo stone, I should be second.
Yep.
Or like 205 stone, I should be second. I can do that most of the time.
Yep.
Right. And then I should take out the deadlift.
Yep.
Right. And I should do well on this and I should do well on that. And then that's the equivalent of like, I should do well on sandbags. That's the equivalent of me winning the competition.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's how I'm looking at it, like ticking the boxes, making sure that like my axle and dumbbell transitions are quick enough to be first or second.
Yep.
My Zercher yoke is fine.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like those things, like ticking the boxes. So it's like I should be aiming to win all the events, but where I think or like where I know is kind of like where things need to be.
So actually trying to be smart. Trying to be well-rounded as an athlete.
Trying to be well-rounded as an athlete.
Not being a one-trick pony.
Yeah, I don't need to sink.
Who does that?
Yeah, I know. I don't need to sink a lot of time into the deadlift because it's fine, right?
Who does that?
Boring people.
Yeah, you got to be a one-trick pony.
Time poor people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, records. Back to records.
Jumps in records, like weight jumps, incremental jumps.
Yeah, like 2.5.
Yeah.
Like, don't break a record by 1 kilo on strongman.
No.
Dumbbell maybe.
I keep seeing the stone records get beaten by 1 kilo.
Yeah, I mean, like
over in England, they just make a
who's
171
making
stone.
Yeah, like
Luke Davies.
yeah.
Did for the 80s boys.
I mean, I really like Luke.
I love Luke. He's all for records.
Yeah.
He's like, if you want to get a record, he's like, let's go.
Yeah.
1 kilo, don't care.
Yeah.
Let's just push it.
Yeah.
Like he's all for, I don't care. Anything goes. Like standardize.
The record, yeah.
Standardize, but I don't care. Like less rules is better.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like the less rules is better thing.
Yeah, less rules is better.
I think that should hold true more in strongman, full stop. Like the rest rules better. So, yeah, okay, cool. 1 kilo.
Yeah.
1 kilo. Fine. Go for it.
They're also a bit more established than we are too, where they can have lots of multiple comps and record breakers, and it doesn't take away from the big stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
If we all aim for records and take away from our main comps,
yeah,
we don't have enough people for that.
And who can ref, like where can we break records is probably the last one.
Yeah.
Like, do we break records at like an intermediate competition or like some fucking gym with some guy in the gym who's refereeing it and stuff like that? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, I think it needs to either be like an established record breakers comp or we do all these events or something like that, or we do like, or it's in comps and stuff like that, but at a reasonable level with like either approved referees or just like a reasonable level competition.
Yeah.
Like not at a gym comp with your mate refereeing, or not at the gym comp with some dude from the gym reffing, like someone who's either had experience refereeing, someone who's objective in terms of reffing. Does that make sense? Like I feel like there needs to be some sort of parameters, or you need to have a body that's like reviewing it.
I still think it needs to be in the comp.
Yeah.
Like if everyone's doing a monster dumbbell for reps and you can't go, oh, when everyone's done, can I have a crack at a record?
Yeah.
No.
Because not
Get fucked.
Then
go find another comp.
Yeah, because then everyone has to do it. But does it have to be broken in a comp within the comp event, or can we just run comps for records?
I don't think you can just run like a deadlift record and that's your comp. Like just one record.
Sure.
I think
if you run a record breakers, do you have to do all 6 events?
No, but at least you're making a comp.
Yeah.
At least it's gonna be better for the sport, and it's not just stroking one person's ego.
Yeah. It's like, oh, cool.
It's putting towards the community and the comp itself.
What I
not just helping one person.
Yeah, yeah. So like, it's like, okay, cool. This guy from my gym is peaking his deadlift. Let's just throw a comp at that time.
Yeah. Let's just throw a comp in 3 weeks while he's good.
Yeah. He's looking good. In 2 weeks, he's gonna do a big deadlift.
Yep.
All right, quick, let's get this together.
And then you're like, in 6 weeks, we're gonna run a deadlift comp. Everyone's welcome to jump in, and it's like everyone's got 6 weeks.
Yeah.
No one else is gonna beat your guy.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like it needs to be somewhat fair.
Like a relatively established comp kind of thing.
Yeah. Or if you hold a record breakers, you have the opening attempts so heavy and so close to the records that
we talked about this.
Everyone can't just rock up and
okay, cool. You've got like the 90s record is like 10
dumbbell? 105.
105. So like you have to start with a 90 kilo dumbbell or like 95 kilo dumbbell. Yeah, like you have to
near 100.
You have to be throwing a number up.
It's pretty much your second or third attempt needs to be going for the record.
Yeah.
So you need to be within shot.
So like if it's a deadlift and you're coming in to do like the 105 record, which is 380, maybe the buy-in is 350. Do you know what I mean?
I still even think higher.
I jumped 350 to 380.
Yeah.
That would be my first.
Yeah, I suppose deadlifts is different.
Yeah.
With like openings being a bit lighter.
Like I'd stretch them out. Like I do 30 kilo jumps.
Yeah.
So like looking at that, I mean, or maybe you do make it like 20 kilo jumps or something like that. So you have to participate. I don't know.
I think that's the easiest way rather than look at someone's Instagram and be like, what can you do?
Or just make a minimum buy-in or something like that, which is like hard. So not everyone's just rocking up to like break a record.
Yep.
That's nowhere near it.
And it's open to anybody.
Yeah.
It's not a case of we're inviting you because we know you can do it, but we're not inviting you because you're
Anyone
not strong
can
enough.
come along.
Anyone
just
can come
you
along.
have to be able to hit the minimum standard.
Yeah. If you miss your opener, well, you're just not strong enough.
Yeah.
You shouldn't.
You're not going to be breaking a record. So that's all there is to it.
Yeah. So I think that keeping it within a comp.
Yeah.
3 attempts. You don't get a 4th attempt.
Nah. 3 attempts.
Nah. Because people would be like, oh, but in powerlifting, when they go for a record, they get a 4th and blah, blah, blah. And it's like in powerlifting, they do sumo and everything else and they don't use straps.
Yeah.
Let's not compare the two.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like a squat event.
Yeah.
We have a squat event in comp and they're like, oh, it's got to be below parallel. And it's like, are we
And it's not
IPF?
unlimited.
Are we powerlifting?
It's not unlimited events and unlimited time. Like
Yeah.
if you got an event attempt, you got 60, like strongman rules, you got 60 seconds.
Yep.
And if you miss it on the first, in that 60 seconds, maybe you can have another attempt.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like keep it like strongman rules. Like you got 60 seconds to get a successful attempt.
Yep.
I mean, like if you miss it on your first, you're probably not going to get it on your second.
Unless it's like a stone or a
do you know what I mean? Like, you
you
got 60 seconds to try and get your attempt in.
Yeah.
Fantastic. But you don't have unlimited time and unlimited events, which I've seen before. Yeah. You know what I mean? With like a stone record, it was like, oh, I missed it, so close. We'll give another attempt. Unlimited time kind of thing. Take as much time in between.
Give someone half an hour to fix their tacky and come back.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like it's a competition still. Or it's in like parameters that are kind of like they're locked in parameters, which make it more difficult.
Yeah. If you have to go back to back to back, it's like, okay, you get a 3-minute break or a 5-minute. Like you just set it.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So yeah. Might get there one day.
Yeah.
I'm not going to run and organize it.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and poke fun and be like, that's not a record.
We'll sit in our armchairs and comment.
That's not locked out. You call that a rep?
Grumpy Old Men podcast.
Yeah.
This is like sit in our armchairs and comment on everything that's going on. But
yeah,
we do a lot.
For what?
Oh, we do a lot in the sport.
Oh.
We coach a lot of people. We run comps.
Yeah.
I run gym.
Yeah.
Run a lot of comps. So, I mean, we have a right to comment.
Yeah, we can get old. Call it like the Strongman Grey.
The Strongman Grey.
I'm great with these names.
Transition, yeah, I like it. You put up a really good post during the week about the post-comp blues.
Yep.
Something that probably a lot of the novice competitors will be feeling after the weekend. Big high, big adrenaline dump.
Yep.
Did a great job. Just trained for 8 weeks or 10 weeks for this with a direction and a focus and knowing where I'm going. And then boom, I get all these Instagram posts and all these Instagram likes and I feed everything that I need in my life. Yeah. I feel valued.
I feel validated.
I feel validated. And then it all goes away.
Yep.
Talk to us about the like those 3 sort of coping mechanisms or like strategies that you sort of talked about.
I have to remember what they are off the top of my head. But it's not also like I could have gone into it in more detail, but it's not just comps. It's like any big life event, like post-pregnancy, post-wedding, post-holiday. You go on a holiday for 2 weeks, come back, and you're like, oh, I've been hanging for that for 3 weeks. I've been looking forward to that,
and now it's done.
And it's been my focus. I've been like searching everything on where I'm going overseas. Yeah. So it's like everything and having to deal with that. I think the first thing is like you just can't avoid it.
Yes.
Like just accept it.
Yeah, make space for it.
Yeah. Just accept how you're feeling. Because I think people try to like fight it and they're like, no, I'm good. I'm just going to go max out again. And it's like, why do you keep maxing out for the next 3 weeks? Are you just trying to keep chasing a win, a win? You're trying to chase the comp that's over.
Yeah.
So I think sitting there and just feeling how you feel. Yeah. You're allowed to be sad.
Yeah, or stoked, but like sad that it's gone. Sad that like it's like, okay, cool, now I just got to get back to doing the work. And then
I think it doesn't matter, even if you have a great comp, sometimes it can be worse because you just want to go back to that day.
Yeah, big high.
Yeah, so you can still end up sad about it, even though your performance was great and you were stoked with it.
Yeah.
Or you can do terribly and you just need to kind of sit there and just accept that you did terribly.
Yes.
You can have excuses. You can say, oh, it's because of this, because of the sun. It's because, like, eventually, it might be 5 years, it might be 10 years. You'll sit there and be like, I was just shit. And I've done that with comps. Like, some of the first comps I did, I'm like, oh, yeah, but the warm-ups, but this. And years later, I'm like, I was just weak. I just wasn't good enough. And the other people were better.
Yeah. And you talked about...
I think the quicker you accept that...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The better, because you become...
Good or bad.
Yeah.
Good or bad, right? The quicker you accept the outcome and stuff like that. And the quicker you accept that it's part of the process.
Yeah.
Right? It's just part of the process of like being an athlete or competing is like you compete, it finishes. You train really hard for it. And so you talked about having a plan or making a plan.
Yep.
So having something to re-enter afterwards or just even like having a loose plan, but like knowing the direction of the next block. Like
you can have an off-season plan or your plan can be a year.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be what am I doing next month.
Yeah. And I think the one mistake that's like this leads to burnout is like you end up chasing that, and I see so many people try to do too many comps. Like they're just piggybacking comps and comps because they just want to keep competing and stuff like that. But they never get stronger per se because they never like. That's like if you finish the comp, I will now go and I have a plan. It's not to do a competition, but I have a plan. I have buy-in to that plan. I will get stronger and I'm working towards or I'm working in the direction that I need to be for the next comp, which might be in 4 months or 5 months or 6 months. But if you are constantly doing a competition every 8 weeks or so, and there's maybe times to do that, like if you are strong enough, or like I've done that. I've done like 10 comps in a year where I maintained strength and just competed, and that was kind of the goal. But you have to know what the season is. You have to know the theme of your training block or what the next goal is for you to get better as an athlete. Is it more comp experience? Is it establishing yourself as an athlete? Or is it like I need to get stronger to be an athlete? And then that means...
Yeah, and take a break.
And that means, buying into the plan of not the next comp to get excited for, but being excited for the next stage of training to get stronger and buying into that.
Yeah. Eventually you just have to enjoy training because the comp's one day. Yeah. And training is all year.
You have to enjoy the process. You have to enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Or you have to be committed to the journey.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like training is like the commitment thing, and we sort of spoke about this loosely, and we won't go into too much depth about this, but you have to enjoy the journey, but you also have to understand that like training or training for competitions or being an athlete, living that athlete lifestyle is a committed relationship between you and training, between you and the process, because it doesn't always go well. It doesn't always feel good. It doesn't always go to plan. You have squabbles with yourself in the gym.
Can be an unforgiving mistress.
Yeah, it can be an unforgiving mistress sometimes, you know. Sometimes you're dragging your feet. Sometimes things don't go really well. Sometimes you don't feel super strong or super motivated. And it goes into that Fitzbo, like it's a commitment and not a, focus on motivation, focus on commitment, not motivation. It's like brushing your teeth. There's something to be said for that, but there is more so in terms of knowing the buy-in and being committed to the process. You want to be able to enjoy the process, but you won't always enjoy the process the whole way through, all year, all decade. But the commitment over time, the consistency over time, or your ability to objectively go in and do the work and be unattached when it needs to be to the numbers or the outcomes, feeling great, but you're still doing them. If you're still ticking the boxes, but they don't, you're just like, I didn't feel great. I didn't feel like I got a sick pump. I didn't like love that session, but you got the work done. You executed quite well and you hit the numbers. Then that's indicative of you moving forward. Regardless of whether you're feeling like you're enjoying it, there's a commitment point where if you're not enjoying it, you still are moving forward. You still are ticking the boxes and you're still moving in the direction that you need to be. And you'll probably start to enjoy that as well. But if you want to be great, like if you want to be really, really good, you will have to understand that sometimes that's not there. Yeah. Sometimes that spark is not there, but we're tired some days. Yep. We come into the gym, we say we're tired. We put my headphones in, we get to work and we do the work. Yep. Don't always feel like doing it, but you're committed to it, right? Yeah. You're committed to a lifestyle of training and you're committed to a lifestyle of being an athlete and treating yourself like an athlete.
Yeah, it depends when it is in prep too.
Yes.
Like after comps, there's definitely a time where you can just have fun.
Yes.
And it cannot make sense.
Yeah.
You can be
it
like,
doesn't have to be logical all the time. It can be for fun. It can be for enjoyment.
Sometimes not focusing so hard on numbers and math and algorithms and formulas and everything like that. Sometimes coming in for a month and just doing what you feel like it is probably the most intuitive you'll ever be.
That's exactly what I did. Remember you were like, what are you doing? And I was like, I just kind of training whatever I feel like training every day.
Yeah.
And I was training 6 days a week and I was like, okay, I feel like doing a heavy stone today. I'll do a heavy stone.
You can't not be intuitive because you go in and you're like, what do I feel like?
Yeah. And it was great.
Not what do I have to do?
Yeah. I said, like I pushed shit uphill for the middleweight series trying to get my log up. Yeah. And I came back and I feel like I'm like the strongest, almost rounded strong that I've been for a while because for the first 8 weeks, I just kind of did whatever I felt like. Yeah. And I was having fun. So I trained hard.
If you weren't having fun, then that's your fault because you were doing whatever you felt like. You don't know yourself well enough.
Yeah, 100%.
If you're just doing what feels good and you hate it.
You're right. There's time, like post competitions, there's times just to like train intuitively or just like, be unprogrammed or collaborate with your coach. And say, this is
you
what
can
I
definitely
feel
write up programs and have like ranges.
Yeah, definitely. And throw some fun stuff in
I've given some people like variations. So I'm like, log strict, log push press.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
Yeah.
We're working up to
Yeah,
heavy sets
totally.
of 6.
Or just talk to your clients, or talk to your, if you've got a coach, talk to your coach and be like, look, this is sort of how I'm feeling. I really want to work on this. I really want to do this. This looks like a heap of fun. Cool. Let's program that in.
Yeah.
You give me the tools. You tell me what you feel like doing. I'll facilitate structuring it so it kind of makes a little bit of sense.
That's what I do with most people. I'm just like, all right, what do you want to focus on? I know what I want to get you better at.
100%.
But what do you want to focus on? And then we'll find something in the
middle
middle.
ground. And this is one thing that I think is really important for coaching, is exactly that. What do you want to do? What sets your soul on fire? What motivates you to train? What lights that spark for you at the moment? What do you want to achieve?
Yep.
Because I've been working with you for a long time and I know what I need to achieve with you.
Yep.
So you give me what you want, I know what I want, and I'll give you a bit of what you want and a bit of what I want, and we'll find something collaboratively to move us forward in the direction that we're both happy with, or we're both feeling like we're seeing success. Because what you want leads to your adherence in the gym, and what I want leads to you getting better.
Yeah. And from your plan, in your head, it might not seem like the most optimal way for them.
Yes.
But their adherence is what makes it the most optimal way for them.
100%. Adherence is king. Enjoyment is king a lot of the time too. You know, like you work harder when you're enjoying it. You get the work done when you're not, and that's fine, because there's periods of time where that'll be the case.
Yep.
But when you're enjoying it, when you're motivated, when you're coming in, you've got that like grunt or that desire to like really dig deep and push that degree of like effort. That's when, like, a lot of the times, that's when you get the most strongest in those short, like in those little bursts, right? It's like you push, you ride the wave when it's there.
Yeah.
Right. You ride the wave when you're there, and you tread water waiting for that wave to come again. Then you push.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll have people's numbers pulled back.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, we'll just focus on this. And they're cooked, they're tired. And then like 3 weeks later, they're just like, it's too light.
Yeah. And then suddenly they're exceeding
it's this. And I'm like, all right, we'll bump it up a little bit. And they're like, it's too light. Too light. And they just keep getting hungry.
Yeah.
And they're like, everything's feeling so good. I just want to send it. And then eventually it's like, all right, off you go.
And this is another thing.
You got 3 weeks, go for it.
Athletes kind of sometimes don't understand, like when they see a program, they're like, oh, it's underloaded.
Yep.
And it's like, yes, it is. And it is for a reason. Right?
Yep.
Because you're going to feel real good. You're going to tick the program off. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel like you're crushing for 4 weeks. And then you're going to get some momentum.
Yeah.
Psychologically, you're going to get some momentum. And it's like, oh, but I need to go heavier. I'm like, oh, you will.
Yeah.
Like, it will come. But right now, like, you're like, oh, yeah, but this is easy. I'm crushing this. I'm feeling strong. Like, you're giving me these numbers and I'm ticking it off. And then it's like, all right, cool, off the leash. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we've got you to a point psychologically where, like, you're hungry.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're succeeding. So let's let you succeed now as well. It just comes down to knowing people.
Yeah, it's finding that balance. If you can get that for a long time, it's great, because you walk in and you're just like, whatever gets put on there, I'll lift it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it feels stupid.
It's a great place to feel.
But you're like, anything could be on there and it'll move.
Yeah.
I just feel that good about it. Training's been that good
Yeah.
for so long.
Yeah.
And then it's fun. It's not hard to come in the gym.
Nah, then you're absolutely keen. So we've got having a plan afterwards.
Yep.
Like a big one. And like buying into that plan. What else was there?
The other one was just like taking it all in.
Yeah, making space, taking it all in.
Yeah, just accepting it. I can't remember what the third one was. Actually, cannot remember. I should remember.
Strengths and stories, get on them. Educational.
I have to search for it.
Posts, educational.
Not looking at others for comparison or motivation.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. Which is blanket rule.
General.
Yeah.
Talks to our last
For everything.
podcast in terms of the highlight reel and the sort of understanding. But yeah, I think that's a really good one. People look at competitions and their results or something like that and they're like, oh, this person did this or this person. And we've talked about this before, so we don't have to go super in depth. But like, you're running your own race because you only get as strong as you can get and the time that you can get. Everyone's individual. Like, it's training, just a whole bunch of stuff. Like, yes, it's good to look ahead and look where you need to be.
Yep.
But take away, and I mean, I talk to my clients about this in terms of like comparison to Thief of Joy, blah, blah, blah. We've heard that quote, but I've talked to a lot of my clients about, especially some clients, what do we say is a good day?
Yep.
Like, let's look at this competition. Let's look at where you're at and how training has gone, regardless of placing, regardless of how things go on the day. What are we going to call a successful day?
Yep.
4 reps on this. this to 1.2. I'll get these 2 sandbags. Whatever it looks like, if we tick these things off and set an expectation of what we actually think is going to be a good day, then we're happy at the end of the day.
Yep.
Or when they come back to me and they say, oh, look, I'm not happy with this. I'm like, well, we did everything that we said was a successful day. It's just like, this is how training dictated things were going.
Yep.
People were stronger. People did better. And that's okay. But you did everything that we set out to do in this block that we coined as a successful competition. And I think that's a good way to go about it in terms of like understanding where you're at and looking objectively at where your strength is at, where the comp is at, and going, okay, what do we call a good day in this realm?
Yeah, I think in powerlifting it's a lot easier because your max number's your max number. Yeah. And if someone's
5 kilo PR's 5 kilo PR.
Yeah,
woo-hoo.
You're trying to match your pre-comp.
Yeah.
So you've always got pre-comp numbers to try to beat. And
Yes.
if somebody's ahead of you, you can't catch up.
Yeah.
And in strongman, because there's so many variables, people think they can catch up.
Yes.
And it's like, not as much as you think. If someone's just stronger, yes, it's a farmer's, and yes, they could drop it, and yes, you could run quicker.
Yeah.
But if they're just that much stronger,
They're just going to be
you
strong.
can't catch up. So you're just trying to beat, and we don't have a reference off the back of each comp.
Yeah.
So our comparison comp to comp is very hard to break down.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm like, oh, last comp I crushed it. I came second.
Yeah.
This comp I came sixth, and I suck. And it's like, they're not your events.
Different competitors, different events, the whole deal.
Different weight cut,
Yeah.
different person, different
Yeah.
strengths, different
Yeah.
injuries, niggles.
Totally.
Like,
Yeah.
so I think that's hard. Like people comparing each one of their comps to the last.
Yeah,
like,
just because you won one comp doesn't mean you're going to win the next one because the
Nah.
competition might be just not suited to you.
no, I would just assume that your worst comp that you're ever going to have, where you just bomb and fall apart and everything goes wrong, is still coming.
Yeah.
We don't know when, but it's going to happen. And
It's
it's
the
going to
most pessimistic view ever, but it's so on point.
No, but then you could go the other
Yeah.
way. There's going to be a comp
There's going to be a day.
where you feel like if the wind is just, it's going to be blowing whichever direction you need it to. It's going to rain on everybody else. It's not going to rain on you. You're going to have a comp that you are just unstoppable.
Most people will have a day.
Yeah, you'll have
Yeah, one,
more
two.
than one, but yeah, there's one of those comps coming where it's just going to be the best fucking day ever, and everything falls in your favor. Someone trips over, this happens, and then you're going to have the opposite,
Or just
where
a
you're
day
the one
where
that
you
trips
feel
over
without anyone else messing up. Like this is a day where you're on.
Yep.
Like you just feel like God in that arena.
Yeah, and there's
you're
a day when
untouchable.
you're off.
And there's a day where you fuck everything up.
Yeah.
and both days, if you're relatively new to strongman, they're both coming. like they both will be there.
Yeah, and eventually once you've done 20, 30, 40 comps, it all just gets mixed in the wash.
Yeah, and that's probably another thing. The more comps you do, the probably more...
The less value each comp holds.
Yeah, like I was looking at it
the
other
title
day.
holds value,
Yeah.
but the comp and the comp performance, it's just this
100%.
up and
Like
down.
I'm nearing 50 strength competitions alone.
Yeah.
And that's like a lot of comps. But like, yeah.
Yeah.
Comps, like, you're nervous, you're excited. Like, I'm like, it's a job.
Yep.
Like, and then afterwards, it's a job next.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, next comp.
Yeah, you still
Or
get
next
nervous
plan.
about it.
Yeah, on the day kind of thing. And you're still invested in it. Don't get me wrong. Like, we're talking about sitting up and dreaming or envisioning things and stuff like that. Like, you're still invested. But the more you do, probably the less peaks and troughs there are in terms of like those post-comp blues and stuff like that. And the post-comp highs. Like, you win a comp, you won a comp. Good. Expect me to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
On to
not
the
like
next one.
Yeah, on to the next one. I expect myself to win the next one. It's not huge elation when you win a comp.
It's also the next big
expectation.
step up in comp.
Yeah.
If you've done a lot of local comps, they won't
of course.
excite you.
Yeah.
You go into a States.
You go to
that's
Worlds.
going to have a big high.
You go
and
to
a big
Worlds
low.
and you're a bit more nervous.
Yeah.
You go to Worlds and you win that, you're a bit more elated.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, for sure.
But that's the only way to actually climb into the next pond.
Yes. Yeah.
Is you just jump in.
Yeah.
And you just go, I'm going to get
Send it.
flogged.
Yeah. True.
And then you turn up and you're like, I actually didn't do too bad.
Yeah.
Maybe I could be here.
Yeah. And I'll be better next time.
Yeah.
That is a Strongman Say. Talking about the newest band of qualifiers, the recent novice competition, record breakers.
Yep.
I don't know, a whole bunch of shit. Hopefully you enjoyed. We'll see you again in a fortnight.
Yep.
Have a great day.
Yep.